go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of NotaryCoach.com and author of the book Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I'll be one of your hosts today, along with Carol Ray. Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro, the industry's most respected loan signing certification. Carol, can you hear us okay? I think Carol is having some technical difficulties, so Carol will come back to you. Laura Biewer is our third co-host today, founder of CoachMeLaura.com and so much more. Laura, how's it going today? You're muted, by the way.
Well, of course I am.
Rule follower.
I'm the rule follower.
I love it.
Today's much better day than yesterday. I didn't post, but I texted you where I spent my afternoon with a double flat tire saying no to assignments. So it was a bummer. I got one, I got over there, and then I'm thinking, what's taking so long? And I said, oh, we found a screw in your other one. Well, got to take care of it. You know, I need my car. So guys, your vehicle is like the single most important thing you need when you're going to be traveling as a mobile notary. It's got to be in good shape and ready to go at a moment's notice. So welcome everybody. Today I'm with Coach Me Laura, and I try to help notaries build a business, whether it's mobile or NSA, whatever it is. If it's related to something notary, I can probably give you a hand.
Awesome. Laura, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Guys, we're going to jump right in. This is like an old-fashioned call-in radio show. Use the Zoom feature to raise your hand so you can ask a question. When you're called on, please tell us your name. Tell us what state you're in. That's very important in our industry. Tell us what state you're in, and then ask your question. If we need additional background information, we'll ask for it, but let's just get right into it so we can answer as many questions as possible today. We're going to go until about 12:50 p.m. In the last 10 minutes, we're going to have a special guest, Carrie Rivera, founder of NotaryReviews.org. And part of her community is rating, reviewing a lot of these signing or hiring companies. And part of her community has probably the most, hands down, it's the most comprehensive list of these hiring companies. So she's going to share with us what's new and what's going on with Notary Reviews at the very end. All right, let's jump in and see what we've got. I've got one hand or a couple hands up. All right, starting to pop up here. Kristen Bembo, always a pleasure to see you. I know you're in California, so tell us what's going on.
Good. How's it going? So the thought that keeps kind of popping up for me is you guys keep driving home the fact that if you do make a mistake, to drop everything and shuffle your schedule around. So I wanted to kind of play that out and see, as an example, I make a mistake. I need to go back to the customer and have them sign something. So I have, let's say, 3 more signings, and they're all dated for today. So someone has to move off of today's date. So what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. And I'll answer for me first. Number one, I would not assume that someone has to move or shuffle to the next day. I would find out what the boundaries are, how much flexibility do I have with where I made the mistake. So if it's a critical document that's holding up funding, that's going to get a different priority than, oh, hey, we've got this disclosure, no big deal, just sometime in the next 48 hours it needs to be signed and scanned back to us. Then I know kind of what the parameters are for how to solve this problem. And I'm trying to think of any time in my experience, I've never had to sacrifice current customer service for past customer service. I've always been able to find a way to make it work from a logistics standpoint. Where it becomes a little more challenging, I think, is if it's a complete re-sign or something that takes a little bit more time. That might be a challenge. But again, I still think correcting that is important for my personal integrity and the relationship that I have with the people who hire me. So at a very worst case scenario, if I had to change an appointment or remove myself from an appointment to make that right, I would do everything in my power to make that as easy as possible for whatever company hired me for that. So it might be finding another notary to replace me, or I wouldn't leave them hanging, if that makes sense. Laura, I'd love to hear your perspective on this as well.
You know, a lot of what you said, I was going to say. One time I was teaching and I was 2 hours away, and there was no way I was going to be able to take care of it in that time frame. And I offered up my own fee and said, look, you're going to need to replace me to fix this. Take my fee and use it to make it right for you. And because I just couldn't find another way. But that was a way that I could at least show my regret at the mistake and offer them an opportunity to find somebody who could do it right away for them and have the money to do it with.
I like that. Thanks.
Great
I would probably do
suggestion.
the same.
Carol Ray, were you able to join us?
I think Carol's having a problem with the link. Was that her that texted me? Somebody's having a problem with the link. Well, they didn't sign their name, so I don't know who they are.
She was on, but I think she was having some technical problems.
Okay.
So Carol, just give me a heads up when, or Laura, if you see her, jump on. Let me know. Kristen, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Texas Carlton Hayden. Well, we already know what state you're in. So how's it going? How can we help?
I'm good, Bill. Actually, and I was just watching your, I think it was maybe February 9th office hours, and there's kind of two things from there. I wanted to ask two questions, and I'll ask the first one, let you answer, then I'll ask the second.
Please, thanks.
The first one, as it pertains to middle initials on documents. Obviously, I've heard conversation here before about a signature being a signature, and obviously you can't really question someone's signature. When you have a requirement, or if the lender or escrow is asking for sign as printed, say with middle initial, but client is saying, hey, that's my signature, and oh, by the way, there's a middle initial in there. How do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, great question. So first things, the signature is probably one of the murkiest areas that we run into in our business. The real challenge comes with whether or not the signature is legible or not legible. If the signature is not legible, you have a lot more flexibility, because you can ask the borrower, does this signature represent that full name typed under the signature line? Yes. And does it match the ID? Okay, we're good to go. And I have something I can look back to with the lender and say, no, it matches his signature perfectly. The challenge where the real challenge comes in, and where you sometimes get pushback from lenders, is if the signature is legible and you can see, hey, this guy signed Bill Smith, but the name says William D. Smith, then that presents a problem for lenders. And Laura, I'd love to hear your perspective on this part too.
Really, Bill, what you just said, that's the rule I go with is I look at the signature, and if it looks like I can't really tell what it is, I ask the question, does this represent the name printed below? And if it does, I let it go. I've not had any rejections using this rule of thumb. If I can tell that they have completely undersigned by leaving out the middle name, leaving out a middle initial, and their signature, like my signature, is very clear, I need to speak with the client and say, okay, it's very clear that you're leaving this out. You have two choices. Client, you can leave it out and say, this is your signature, and then you can pay me again when I come back, because they're not going to accept it. If this is your loan, do you want to call them? And this is theirs. So I'm going to let them take some ownership of that. I just let them know what's expected is that they're going to see what's on the document here. And I see that it's not that way. And if I see it, they're probably going to see it too. So what would you like to do, borrower? And then I let them tell me what they'd like to do. almost always they say, I'll put in the middle initial.
I'll just put it in.
I'll just
Then
put
they
it
huff and puff for a few minutes.
And it's over. They get over it.
Yep, exactly. Similar experience here. Does that help, Carl?
Yeah, that definitely helps. So the second question is, as it pertains to mortgage documents that are out of state that may require a witness in their home state, but in the state that the notarization is occurring, it does not require a witness. You talked about that a little bit on the 9th, but I just want to kind of get what you might perceive as a concrete answer when it comes to a situation like that.
So just to clarify for everybody listening, the question is, let's say you are performing a loan signing in a state that does not require witnesses, but the property in question is in a state that requires witness signatures on, say, the deed of trust. So how do we handle that, right?
Yes.
Am I understanding correctly? Great. Carol, are you with us? Would you like to jump in on this one?
I am. I just got my internet. Sorry, I'm so late.
No worries.
Well, if it's a document that requires witnesses in order for it to be recorded in that state, such as you have Florida, and at one point in time they required conveyance documents I'm sorry, I was so shook up from not being able to get on. But they used to do the mortgages and deeds and trust and the grant deeds, conveyance documents that they had to have witnesses. They've changed that now. But if you do get a deed, let's say a grant deed, and it's requiring witnesses in Florida in order to record, then you need to have witnesses. If they don't require it for recording of documents, then usually you don't have to do it if it's not required in your state. But you need to clarify that with the signing service.
That's the key, right, Carol? Like, if you are not expected, Carlton, to know the witness rules of all 50 states. If a witness is going to be required to help record it, it should technically be conveyed to you, right, Carol? If either in the notary instructions or the hiring company, or somebody who needs to tell you that, oh wait, you actually do have to get a witness. This is going to be your responsibility. Very oftentimes, you'll even be able to charge a premium for that.
But a lot of times they don't hear that. They don't know that information. It's not conveyed to them. And that's when you really have to dig in and call title company or whoever, would be a legitimate resource to find out whether or not you need to have witnesses. And by the way, if you do, if you're required to provide them and the borrower is not able to, you're able to charge for that and make sure that they understand that they're going to be paying you to bring witnesses to the signing.
Good information. I appreciate it, guys.
Yep, no problem, Carl. Then thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Carol.
Can I add? I'd like to add just an extra perspective to that. And that is Florida would be a good example where they need a witness and they say, and you can be the other witness. The notary can be the other witness. And that may be true for Florida. In Florida, they say specifically that the notary could be a notary and the witness, one of the two witnesses. However, there are many states out there that say absolutely not. In their state, it's not allowable. So just because Florida says, yeah, you could be the witness, please make sure you know your own state rules about whether or not that's okay in your state, because it may not. Georgia's an absolute forget about it. And then there's a lot of states that don't address it in the statutes, but the best recommended practice is not to be the second witness. If possible, you want other eyeballs on that document. That's why they have witnesses. They have a different role than we do.
Right.
And just to add a note to that, hi, I'm a notary here in Florida. Yes, you could be a witness, but if you're also having to do a power of attorney, you cannot be a witness. So, and I've had documents where I've had to do loan signings with power of attorneys where I could be a witness in the deed, but when it came to the power of attorney, I couldn't. So just to play it safe, I just put myself completely out of it as a witness altogether.
That's a great idea. really, to just not be in the witness role. Don't wear two hats at the same time. That's my idea. But
That's a
if
good
you
rule
want
of
to know
thumb.
which states are witness states, I'm going to tell you what they are right now, because there's only like 6 of them, and write it down on something, and then you'll always know, is it one of these states? All right. So the states are Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and South Carolina.
That's only
And
5.
those are for recording purposes.
Okay.
Only 5, Laura.
Oh,
You got
well, one of
more?
them changed their mind, so there's down to 5.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is rules change, you know.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
have to constantly check on that, but at least you've got those 5. Write it on the inside of your journal, put it somewhere, put it in your phone, in your notes, so that you have that list handy. And when you take a property outside of your state, you can look real quick to see, is it one of those states? Because if
Got
you don't get instruction, call.
Fantastic. If you don't mind, Matt Miller, if this is a good time for you, I'd love for you to come on for just a couple minutes and tell us what's going on with your organization and what you've got coming up. Is this a good time?
Great, thanks, Bill. Now's a great time. Hello, everyone. It's Matt from the California League of Independent Notaries, and I wanted to take a couple of minutes to let you guys know what we've got going on the first 2 weeks of March. This is our big deal of the year. It's our annual industry survey. And this year we're focusing on things like electronic notarization, journaling, and also miscellaneous notary acts. And you also have a chance to win over 30 plus great prizes, including a lifetime membership to Sign and Thrive, 2 tickets, count them, 2 tickets to this year's Notary Symposium, personal coaching with Carol Ray, supplies and stamps and a leather briefcase bag and all kinds of things. And all notaries are welcome to participate, not just California notaries. If basically, if you have an active commission number and you can fog a mirror, I want to hear from you. But guys, it's not just about the prizes, even though they are good and plenty, but it's also about making your opinion and your voice count on notary related issues, because this type of study can then be used to help influence policy that is written for notaries, not only in California, but across the country. And you guys are going to be the first to hear it here. We do have an active bill in California for notaries this year. It is AB 1093. Right now, it's just what we call a placeholder. So there's just some general language, nothing too flashy. And so what's going into it is still being decided, and your answers to these survey questions will help decide what goes in that bill and what doesn't. I'm going to drop the link to the survey in the chat window. Also, I'm posting it on all the forums, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and I'll be back again next week to remind everyone. Also, Titans, if you would like to blast this out to your newsletter lists, please feel free. Like I said, we want to hear from as many people as we can so we can get a very solid sample. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be here in the chat for the rest of the call. So thanks a lot, and good luck for a great March with that for everyone.
Thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate everything that you're doing to rally a different way of thinking about our industry. We do have the power to influence these decisions that affect us every single day. So thank you for that. All right, let's move on to the questions. Maura Contreras, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, everyone. I'm in Illinois. So I recently had someone reach out to me for a embossed stamp, and I'm just wondering how common that is, not only in Illinois, but in other states. Do notaries have both, just the regular stamp and the embossed seal? So just wondering if that's common.
Excellent. Laura, I think this is perfect for you to address. What do you think?
So it is state specific. In some states, they allow the embosser to be one of the seals. In other states, it is not acceptable to be used as a seal at all. And I don't know off the top for Illinois, I believe it's an additional tool, not a primary. But we may have some other Illinois notaries on board today. So if you are from Illinois and you know if you can use an embosser as your primary seal, get in the chat and say something about that. All right. But yes, it is common. So most people ask me, well, if you're not using it as your primary seal, what do you use it for? And I use it mostly for foreign documents that are going to be going out of the country. And they want a way for me to tie all the pages together. And I'm not allowed to use my seal of office to do that. So I use this without the ink, and it's my unofficial seal, but it looks very official, of course, to those other countries. And that's mostly when I use it. I've also been requested by a military base that if I have an embosser to add it besides my stamp. And then if you have a document that you feel is a little high risk and you want to make sure that nobody can switch out pages in between, you could also use it there. And if that's how you're doing it, you could use a partial. You don't have to have the whole thing. Do not allow it to crimp up words or any other written material. Make sure it's just in white space. If you don't have enough white space, then put a half a seal instead of a whole seal.
Okay.
Excellent. Does that help,
Thank you.
Maura?
It does. Thanks a lot.
All right, no problem. All right, Hina or Hina. I think I do this every time. Hina, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. What state are you in, and how can we help?
I'm in California, and I have a question about I think Laura can answer this. So I get a lot of out-of-state loan signings, and their certificates are not California compliant. So I have to add a jurat or acknowledgement. So if there are multiple, the question is if there are multiple documents that require a jurat, can I just add one for all the documents, or do they need to have, each one need to have separate one?
All right, so I was.
Oh, you're muted, Laura.
And it was harder to hear me. So I think, Hannah, what you were trying to ask is, do I need a separate certificate for each one of those documents? And the answer is yes. Each one is for its own document. You can't have 3 documents with one jurat. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And the other question, just related to that, how do we know if these out-of-state certificates, how do we know they are California compliant? Is it that notarial box that has to be?
All right, so let me switch your question around just a little bit. So first of all, we know how to recognize our own certificates in the state of California with that notice box that leads it off. And of course, on the acknowledgement, the penalty of perjury. When I see other certificates that don't have one of those 2 things, it's likely because it's either A, old California wording, or B, for another state. I always ask where the document is going. So if the document's going to be filed here in the state of California, the answer is it needs to be mine. And if it doesn't look like mine, don't use it. Okay. If the answer is it's going to another state, it's not my job to know if that is their current wording or not. That's not my job. My job is to know mine.
Got it. So I need to worry. Okay. So make sure they're California compliant if they're recorded in California.
That's right. So if you're doing NSA work, any California property, it's going to be filed in California.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great question. Thanks for being here. All right. Michelle's iPhone. Glad to have you on here. Would you like to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and ask your question. Michelle's iPhone.
Yes,
there you
here
go.
I am. Hi, how are you? I'm from the state of New Jersey. I have a question, 2 questions, quick. One on document correction agreement, where after you fill it out, where it have to borrow and so forth, then it said witness and date. Do I sign that as the witness that I verifying that I saw the borrower fill this out? And do I stamp it also?
Well, Carol, would you like to talk about that one since we see this in loan packages? Oh, it sounds like maybe her sound is gone. That's okay. So Laura, what do you want to, I saw you kind of jump in on that one.
No, I was jumping because I was trying to hear. I missed the first part of her question. So I'm going to let you address it and see if I have something I can add.
So this is kind of a two-part question. So the first thing I want to say is you do not just randomly stamp or seal with your notary seal unless there is a notarial language for a notarial certificate. So if you're signing in the capacity of a witness and there's no notarial language or a notarial certificate, then you would not stamp that because you're not acting as a notary on those.
Okay.
Whether or not they want you to sign as a witness on that can be specific to that lender or that hiring company, and based on what state you're in. If New Jersey is in a state where they need a witness for a document like that, you might have to, if you're allowed to even do so. What I have found, though, that these loan documents especially are made from these boilerplate templates, meaning these lenders use the same 2 or 3 companies that create these templated loan packages, and they'll include witness lines even though they don't really need a witness line for those.
Yeah.
Oh,
Laura, would you
okay.
add anything to that?
No, that's the part I was going to say, is that sometimes there are things on documents that just don't apply. It just doesn't apply. And if you're not sure, call your hiring company. If they say, well, you don't need to worry about that, then I put N/A. It doesn't apply. We don't need it.
Okay. And then one more question. They had an acknowledgement in a refinance that I did. And then at the bottom of it, it had the information for the notary. But since it's an acknowledgement, I was assuming that I should stamp it. And do I put an embosser on it or just stamping it will be suffice?
Well, your rubber
And-
stamp is your official seal.
Okay, and I don't have to attach another acknowledgement to it.
Well,
I won't have to attach. It says acknowledgement, State of New Jersey, County of Essex, and then I fill in the other part, on this day before me, with the client name, and then the notary part, where who I am satisfied, he or she, the makers of the forthcoming instrument, and acknowledge that he or she execute the same as his in her own act. And then it said notary public. I signed that part and I put my commission expires, expiration date, and then I stamp it.
Right.
But I don't have to put the embosser.
No, you don't have to put the embosser. Your seal is fine. And I heard all
Okay.
the elements. You had a venue, you had all your statements of action, you had a place to sign it, you have your stamp, which are the main
Right.
elements. And New Jersey allows you using other states' certificates as long as it has the minimum elements required, and that did. So I wouldn't attach anything. I'd fill that out.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. I just
That-
wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that I was
is-
doing it right.
It sounds like you are, and that is your notarial certificate. So that's what you're looking for. And I just wanted to confirm 2 other things. Well, there was 2, and now it's down to 1. Is sometimes these, I know I'm losing them. Sometimes the lenders, and this is real easy for new notaries or new loan signing agents to get caught up on. They will include a blank notarial certificate, a blank acknowledgement, and they will tell you, they will instruct you to complete it, but it's not attached to any particular document. So you have to be really aware that you cannot just willy-nilly hand out a fully executed and sealed notarial certificate if it's not attached to a document.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, Elle Reed. Thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Good. My name is Lisa and I am in New Jersey. And I have been a notary since 1989, but I've always done it in corporate America. And since probably September, I have gone off, since I'm not working now, I've gone off on my own and been doing private notaries. So my question kind of went back to more so the beginning of the meeting when you were talking about bringing witnesses. And it's funny, that's why I raised my hand, because I've done one and I've gotten like 2 or 3 other requests for people to witness their wills and bring witnesses with me, because in New Jersey, these home wills require either 2 or 3 witnesses, to sign along, which I was like, I don't have a posse of witnesses. And I just was kind of wondering, has anybody else experienced it? What do they do? How do they handle it? I just kind of was, and then to find out you can charge extra for bringing your friends.
Yeah, no problem. Great I love that posse of witnesses. I'm going to share real quick what I do, and then somebody's ringing my doorbell insistently, so I'm going to go grab that really quick. But what I do is anytime witnesses are required, I'll ask them if they have witnesses that are non-partial that we can invite to the appointment. They will usually say no because they don't want to deal with it. And then I tell them I'm happy to provide them at $50 each. And then all of a sudden they remember they've got some neighbors they actually like, and we'll invite them over because they don't want to spend $50 extra per person on it. That's what I do. Go ahead.
That's great.
Yeah, and similarly, I let them know it's their responsibility to have them. I do a lot of living trust work, which has a pour over will, and the will has to have 2 witnesses besides, well, actually, instead of a notary. And so I'm there to notarize everything else, but they needed 2 extra witnesses. And if they say, I just can't get one, I can't get one at all, I let them know, okay, I have some friends who are notaries, but I need to pay them for their gas and time to come and witness for you. If you're willing to pay them directly, then fine, I'll invite them. Otherwise, it's up to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a new twist for me.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. Thanks for being here, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I just want to do a quick interjection here too. If you're not on Clubhouse yet, you can follow. I know Laura's on there. I'm on there. There's lots of great notary communications. And I've got some live events coming up the next 6 Saturdays, I think. If you'd like to join us, I am posting that link in the chat room. If you're on Apple products, the Android version, which I'm waiting for as well, will come out in about 5 months. All right, Mandy Mendoza, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help. Mandy Mendoza.
I'm coming. I'm here.
All right. How's it going?
Good. I have a couple questions, and this is going to carry on with the witness topic here.
Great.
I just have I have a signing in a few hours that has a discount point acknowledgement that had a place for a witness and a notary to sign. When I questioned it, they told me, well, just attach a jurat just to be safe. I mean, if somebody's instructing me to do that, is that okay? I mean, I don't believe it even needs that. I mean, I'm in Arizona, so I don't need a witness, but because there is a line for the notary to sign, they said just attach a jurat just to be safe. Is that, if somebody tells you that, am I okay in just doing that? Because there's no notarial wording anywhere else on the document. It's just telling them that their interest rate is locked.
So the person who has hired you,
yes,
has instructed you that they want that document notarized and they want you to use a jurat.
Yeah, they just said attach a jurat to be safe. It normally is not a document that should be notarized. And I explained to them I'm in Arizona. I don't need a witness or a notary to sign this. And they just said to attach a jurat just to be safe. I mean, if somebody's telling me to do that, I guess I'm okay to do that, but I just don't feel comfortable just because they want to be safe, not because it's needed.
But that's the person who created the document and the person who
Yeah,
hired you,
it's
correct?
a signing service.
So
The
yeah,
signing service is telling
even
me
if you took it out of the out of the loan signing, you know,
Uh-huh.
people can get any document in the world notarized. They can require it
Okay.
themselves, and they've instructed you as to which certificate to use. They told you to use
Okay.
a jurat. So I don't think you have an unauthorized practice of law situation here or anything. Laura, do you have anything that you would add to that?
No, I agree with you, Bill. They can ask anything to be notarized. This morning, I notarized a half-page handwritten letter. It doesn't matter what the content of the letter was, but the letter wasn't something that needed to be notarized. So then I said, okay, what do you want to do here? Do you want to swear what's in there is true? Do I just need to prove you signed it? He made a choice. That's what I gave him.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. I think you're good, Mandy.
Then I have another question in regards to witnesses. So like I said, I'm in Arizona. I got an offer from a signing service and I was just so excited about the price that I took it. And then it was only like 12 pages long. And when I got it, I started questioning the documents. It was 8 signature pages, only the signature pages that needed to be notarized because the Louisiana notary forgot to get the witnesses. And so they were asking me just to notarize the signature pages and do not date anything. And I just felt very uncomfortable with that. How was I to get the signer to just sign that second page again and let me notarize it if they didn't know what they were notarizing? When I questioned that, the signing service said, well, they already have an electronic copy of everything that they will be signing. So when I called the NNA, they told me Louisiana was a whole different ballgame when it came to notarization. And that, I guess I'm not aware of that. And that that particular, I shared the document that the documents they were asking me to sign. And they said that Louisiana notaries draw up their own document. So I could not notarize that unless I attached a document. So then I asked him, would you like a jurat or an acknowledgement so that I could attach this? And I said, but I will need, in order for me to attach something, I need the complete document. I can't just show up with just the signature page. I think he was trying to pull one over on me, but I ended up declining it. And I just don't know what was so different. I'm just curious, what is so different about Louisiana that what I was being asked to do was.
There's civil law, or Napoleonic law. So they are between a paralegal and attorney. They can draft documents like a paralegal can. It takes 6 months of training before they can take their testing. They are pretty high up the ladder there in comparison to the rest of us. They can make decisions about notarial acts. We can't. So that's what's really different about them than us. But really, it doesn't matter about what's going on with them because you're in Arizona and it's
Right.
not a new ball game for you. It's the same old notary rules for you. You need a complete document. That's the bottom line. And it was good for you for pushing back and asking more questions and saying, look, I've got to have the whole document. I can't just present a signature page only and expect to notarize that.
Okay, so that I was okay in doing that. And I didn't know it was me rejecting it because, you know, you're supposed to, you can't decline anybody. I didn't know if that was good enough reason because he kept saying, well, everybody else does it. But I think he was just trying to fast talk me and I was questioning him and I didn't do it.
That's the mantra of many signing services. All the other notaries do it.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, great, Mandy. Thank you so much for bringing those to us. Deborah Thomas, nice to see you on here again. You want to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I'm in California. How are you?
Good.
And this is actually a question for Matt. I have a couple of friends who do Thumbtack in order to get notary signings. And so I went on to Thumbtack and I was taking a look to see what was, actually going on. And I saw a Ron notary, and he was out of state. How can they do notarizations for people in California?
That's the great thing or interesting thing about Ron is most states allow you to notarize any U.S. citizen around the world, but most of them are in the state. Matt, did you want to elaborate a little bit on that? I'm happy to.
Yeah, so Bill's absolutely spot on about that. And the way they're able to do it is because as Bill mentioned, certain states have given their notaries global jurisdiction for US citizens. And they state that the notarization takes place where the notary's feet are, not where the signer's feet are. And that hasn't been a problem up until RON because your signer was always right in front of you. So there are a few states now that are catching up to this and are saying, oh, no, 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 because the problem with that is, and the consumer doesn't understand this, but if I'm in California and I get something notarized by, say, a Virginia RON and something goes wrong, I'm now at the whim, even though I'm in California, I'm now at the whim of Virginia's laws. And there's nothing that my home state can do for me because technically that notarization did not take place in California. So there are a handful of states, I don't have my notes in front of me, that over the past year have either passed legislation or by executive order have started to say, if you're in our borders, then you will be served by one of our notaries so that we can help keep control of notarization in our state. So it's all part of this learning process with RON. You know, when something comes along new, there's bound to be things that pop up that need to be tweaked along the way. So we're working on it.
Awesome, Matt.
So
Thank you.
they're able to go, notarize a California document from out of state through Ron.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
All 50 states. Now there are some, well, actually, I think the resistance is kind of lightened up a little bit, but I think Iowa was like, we'll never accept a Ron notarized document. And now I think they do. So the rule is in most of these states where they have passed Ron legislation, their Ron notaries can notarize for any U.S. citizen anywhere in the world, including California.
Okay.
I'm a Ron notary in Florida, and I could notarize anywhere in the world. I have done it for a person in Pakistan, and they don't have to necessarily be a U.S. citizen. They could be a resident as long as they're a U.S. resident or a citizen of the U.S. that they can verify their citizenship.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
This makes it difficult for, mobile notaries who are, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It makes it difficult for mobile notaries who are out there, charging a travel fee. And then here you have a Ron person that can come right on in and notarize it for you. They get no travel fee or,
If it makes you feel better, it's not all that cut out to be, because I'm both. Yeah. And I get more out of local than I get for Ron because the fee is higher. So that's why people rather do. So you don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, I'm just wondering because I actually, I've looked into Ron just, on a basic level, just trying to understand it because it seems like that's something that's coming. So you always want to be ahead of the curve. But at the same time, I just couldn't understand how someone from out of state could do a California notary. And when here are all these other notaries locally, are advertising on Thumbtack and paying for leads in order to get, the same service. Yes. And then somebody from another state can just say, okay, well, I'll do it for you. And that's done.
Like I said, I only did one deal because the Ron notarization is more than the local fees that you charge. So people are going to go to the less expensive.
Correct. Most RONs are 25 and up.
Okay.
All right. Hold on 1 second, guys, because I just don't want to lose control of our conversation.
Exactly.
So Deborah, there is all of this exists, and what Rosemary mentioned is that Ron is not all it is stacked up to be. You do a lot of tech support. Depending on your state it can be more expensive. Loan signings are a nightmare through Ron. So there's always going to be a place for us. It's just we have to, like you said, you get ahead of the curve, learn whether or not you want to take part in it. If you don't, there's always going to be a place for us in person.
Okay.
And then if you haven't checked out Ron University from John Holder, ronuniversity.com. You might want to check him out too. He's got amazing resources and great interviews with all the founders and tech people with the different platforms.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Deborah. Great question. Sparked a great conversation. Yeah. Let's move on to Beth from Orange County, California.
Hello, thanks for taking my question. This is regarding the printers. We talked about it before. I'm just getting a little bit of mixed signals. So the consensus out there seems to be the MFC the Brother MFC L5800 DW, which has been sold out for quite some time. So through a third party, I've identified an MFC L6900 and DWX. So Why are you laughing?
Because I have no idea what those numbers mean.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know what model numbers are. I don't know any of that.
Okay.
But
It
in the
meets all the criteria and everything. This difference is it's 55 pages a minute, so it's probably a little bit more upgraded. But my question is, because we're talking about, have a separate scanner, but then also it's been recommended to get a multifunction copier. So is the scan, and we've identified an Epson 500W, I think Notary Stars uses that. So I'm trying to understand the ideal setup, because if you're saying you can't scan through your multifunction Brother 5800, which is what everybody seems to be using, why do you, and it comes with a scanner, why do you need a scanner in the home? Is my scanner for the car? So, and
okay,
I want to buy everything. So I just want to understand. I found a third party. It's like $1,500, but I just need a straight answer, and I don't feel like I'm getting it. I was wondering if you might be able to guide me.
Sure, yeah. Let's so the reason that I don't recommend these all-in-one devices is, number one, the all-in-one scanners usually have like a 15-page capacity. And if you have an all-in-one, that means it's not everything is 100%. So this gets 25%, this gets 25%, this function gets 25%, and they fall apart a lot easier. And it's usually the scanner that collapses first.
Right.
So there are people on this call right now that use all-in-ones, and they swear by them and they love them, and it has worked perfectly for them. I'm not one of those people. So that's why I recommend the difference.
What do you use?
So the Brother HL, I now have a enterprise grade HP that costs almost $2,000. So I don't recommend that for new notaries. You've got to have enough volume to support that.
Okay, so you're recommending Brother HL.
The 6200, the one that you can't get. It's really difficult to get.
I have a third party that sells commercial, that they're able to sell it to me. It sells to all the hotels. So I've got them helping me. So they just want to know, Beth, find out what you need from the, the best, and get the best at this point, not commercial. So you're recommending not the enterprise, too expensive. Brother HL 6200.
And then Carol Ray suggests the HP brand. She's got tremendous luck with the HP brand. Really, which model you get isn't going to matter, as long as you have two trays that you can print both letter and legal size paper on at the same time at a hopefully relatively high speed. Because if you're doing any kind of volume, you're going to want that paperwork to come out. You only need black and white only.
Right, that's monochromatic, right?
Right, exactly. Then for the scanner, I prefer the Brother ADS 2000. It's a little bit older. I think they have the 2700 now. And in the chat window, guys, if you've got something that you just love using, if you could blow that up for everybody on here. I know finding equipment right now is difficult, knowing which one to pick, because everybody has their own opinion about it. It can get a little overwhelming. But if you can share with Beth and everyone else just which ones you use on there. And then Carol or Laura, do you have suggestions that you would just piggyback on this?
Like a new, really good, high speed, if cost wasn't the issue. They're ready to sell it to me. It's just, there's so much out there, and I don't want to pay for the MFC. If we're not going to use it, I'd rather get a separate scanner, and I want to have the same setup in my car. So I just wanted the total picture.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Laura, Carol, any other suggestions on that one?
Where did Carol go? I don't see her. Did she lose?
Did she lose?
I haven't seen her in a while.
Oh, her camera's not on.
But in any case, regarding the printer, my primary printer for volume documents. Oh, there you are. Where are you, Carol? Okay.
Okay, Laura, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Carol, I was trying to get you back in. I thought we lost you.
You did.
Okay.
My internet's going in and out. Epson, the Epson E.
You're cutting out, Carol.
Yes, I think it's ES 500.
Carol, put it in
can't
the
hear
chat.
me.
Put it in the chat.
It's the Epson WFES 500W. That's what Ronnie and Notary Stars uses. That's the scanner. But I'm looking more for the printer where I don't have to get the multifunction, because we're not going to use the scanner. And I don't know, like Laura, you do high volume. What do you personally use or recommend something new, fast?
For my high volume, I do use the Brother. I've used the 5200. That's now my backup one. And I use the 6200. That's my one that I'm using right now, because it is fast. It only prints black and white. 3 or 4 minutes. I've got a stack of documents ready to roll. I don't want to have to spend time on that. So that's what I use. And yeah, have I ever had issues with Brother? Yeah, I did, like everybody else did recently.
Sure.
With the Adobe. But really, it's a workhorse, and that's what you want, is get
Perfect.
a workhorse.
And it's
for your
not the
primary.
multifunction. Laura, yours is just great. And
Right.
yours is also like Bill, the Brother HL 6200.
Right. Mhm.
Correct?
That's
Excellent.
correct.
I just didn't want to get the MFC because we're not going to use it. And we're going to get a separate scanner.
I have a multifunctional one. It's an HP, but that's not my high volume. That's like
Perfect.
do some color documents, scan, fax, little stuff.
And what goes in the car, folks? Which would you recommend for all of us to set up mobile? The same exact one, or go with the smaller one, like a mobile printer? Like, what else would you put in the car? Exact same one?
I think there's a power issue with the 6200s. If you're going to have an external power source where you can, with like the battery packs, that might work. I know some people who do that. Most people, I think, use a smaller one for one-off
Okay.
type documents.
Okay.
We've got some great resources on YouTube, though, too,
Yeah.
for some
Perfect.
of the mobile office components as well.
Okay, this was really great. And if there's any time after, I was just going to ask about the ERLA. It seems confusing. So if it's not okay now, later, it just seems like when you're looking at the universal residential loan app, at the top when it's blank, I was just confused if it's single or if it's married with their spouse. Like, when do you fill it out on the top, the two signatures on the top of the ERLA?
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
Carol.
So on the 1003, the universal loan application, uniform residential loan application,
Sorry.
is what Beth is talking about here. And the question is, when do we have people sign it? So on a 1003, this can vary from lender, from signing company, from title company. But the general rule of thumb is the document's going to tell you there's two boxes down below, applicant and co-applicant. If they're both on there, the expectation is that both of those people would sign that document. The question really comes in is if there's only one person on that loan application, do they sign it or not? Because if you read the paragraph, it says, I am applying for joint credit, but maybe they're not, but some lenders still require they sign it. So general rule of thumb is they should just sign it, because if the lender does not need it signed, if it's a single borrower and there's only one person on there and they sign it and the lender's like, well, I don't need them to sign it, then they can print out a clean copy and have an unsigned copy. But if they want it signed and you don't get it signed, then that creates a problem.
Perfect. So if they're in the middle of the page, two at the bottom, husband, wife, co-borrowers, both sign the top, left and right.
If they are both on the 1003, if they're both listed with their social security numbers and their employment information and their income information, then they are co-applicants and they would definitely both sign it.
Perfect. And if you only see one borrower on there, you're not 100% sure, have them sign it. They could always pull it out and reprint it.
Only one person, right? But you would never have somebody who's not listed on there. You would never have the wife sign that as a co-borrower without any of her information there. So you wouldn't do that.
And if it's partner and partner, not met like husband and husband, same
way. Either way.
Okay.
Co-borrower or co-borrower.
Thank you very much, folks. Appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Okay, guys. We've got about 7 minutes left. I am going to bring up Carrie Rivera. Laura had to leave. She's teaching today, so she had to take off. Carol is having internet connectivity issues. Carol, if you get back on and you're ready to jump in, please feel free. But we're going to bring up Carrie Rivera. Carrie, are you here and with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Thank you so much. So Carrie Rivera is the founder of notaryreviews.org, and she runs a community surrounding that helps rate and review the hiring companies. And part of that community is an exceptional list of these hiring companies, all star rated and reviewed by your peers, so you know which companies to work with and which companies to avoid. And what we're going to do is we're going to go straight up for 5 more minutes, but I'm also going to extend this a little bit time for some Q&A. So there's no obligation to stay late. I know TNT usually stops right on time, but today we're going to go a little bit later to allow some time for Q&A to Carrie, if you have any. Carrie, thank you so much for being here. Can you do a better description of what you do over at Notary Reviews?
No, you pretty much did it. No, I'm joking.
Nailed it.
Yeah, Notary Reviews is a website. You know, I'm a notary signing agent. I created it for all of us to kind of utilize and partake in, and what we sell, okay, is a very vast marketing list specifically for notary signing agents. The website is exclusive as far as like membership, only notary signing agents can join. And everybody that fills out an application is screened meticulously to make sure that we don't have any owners of signing services or title companies or what have you. Because also on the notaryreviews.org website, we have a members only forum where, you know, many questions are asked and we have discussions and whatnot. It's pretty vast. It's grown within the last couple of years. But if you guys, you know, you've seen me around, you've seen some of my ads around, and I appreciate you, Bill, letting me come on here and kind of chat about it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me. We do at this time have 5 membership plans. I think we're going to stick with these. We've been trying to figure out how we can best accommodate everybody as far as with membership fees. We don't want to obviously, you know, take your money, you know, off your backs and everything. I understand, being a notary signing agent, how hard it is, you know, to make some money in this business, and we try to be fair in our fees, and I think we're good with what we have right now. So I do encourage everybody to go to notaryreviews.org. Let me know what you think. Let me know where we can improve. It's a one-woman organization right now. And let me know what y'all think. One thing I do want to say really quickly, in the fall, end of March, early April, I've created a notary signing agent directory, and I know there's like a billion of them out there right now, but ours is going to be a little bit different. Ours is going to be really tailored to notary signing agents. Y'all be able to post not only your NSA business, but any other side businesses you have, up to 5. And depending on the membership tier, you'll be able to do that. So obviously, like the gold or premier tier will be the 5, you know, you'd be able to list 5 businesses, for example. You can go to signing agent central.com, register your name. The website's not up yet, but it will be up soon. And members of Notary Reviews will get 1 free year of membership on the Signing Agent Central website. I ramble,
Awesome.
so let me know if y'all have any questions. Yeah.
Well, so Carrie, here's the thing. I have talked about you in my book. I think the service that you provide is exceptional, and you recognized a need in this industry and you filled it. So I'm going to ask you a question. So
sure.
I send a lot of people there. I integrated you into the Sign and Thrive course as well. I know Laura sends tons of people. Carol sends tons of people to you as well. We still have new notaries and loan signing agents that are out Googling signing companies or trying to use the Notary Rotary list. They're kind of banging their head on the wall. Why should somebody go ahead and invest in your annual subscription? How would that make their life easier?
First of all, the main difference between our list and Notary Rotary's list or any other list out there is that it's updated daily. There is no other list like it. We have over 825 companies listed now, and it's just growing every day. And we mainly have title companies listed in local areas. Some of these are smaller title companies. We also do have the larger, well-known companies listed on the list. And the main difference with our list is that not only is the list updated daily, but the reviews are from actual notary signing agents. And I know with other NSA directories, and I won't name names, but some of them allow memberships from signing company owners, and then a lot of them, when they post their reviews, they're patting themselves on the shoulder and giving themselves 5-star reviews, and it has gotten to the point, and one of the reasons why I created the list, where you can't really rely on those other lists. At least my list, you can contact me directly and say, hey, and ask me any questions. I'm always available, email, text, whatever. So you're not getting some corporation. It's actually me. We have a great NSA Notary Reviews Facebook group as well. There's a lot of action going on, a lot of discussion there. It's so different from the other NSA Facebook forums. I think some of you guys here are members. I know, Matt, you are. and you can, you'll know the difference. And that's all we do. We just review and rate companies. We get the facts. If something's going, I just found out something about BankServe today that blew my mind. So if you guys are waiting for paychecks on BankServe, make sure that you write them and get paid. Something's going on with them. So it's stuff like that our members are really loyal, and the first place they post is in our Facebook group. Yeah. And I think that because we're so different, we're more personalized, it is so worth the investment. I mean, you can't get the list anywhere else. Yeah, as vast as we have the name of the company, the representative, the president, we have their LinkedIn, Facebook, and we have up to 10 reviews. Yeah.
I love how you geek out on that and you actually research who's owning these companies, who's responsible, whether or not they've got lawsuits and things like that. I see lots of value in that. Yeah. The other thing is, this is not just click and buy, right? You've got to apply to Notary Reviews. How long is your application process?
1 to 2 days. It really depends. Sometimes we have up to 5-6 applications a day. It's me processing it. So, and I'm not really doing closings right now for health reasons, but so I have, a few, and I go through them every day. So it could be 1 or 2 days at most. And if I need some more information, I'll email y'all and or the applicant and let them know what we need. But it's a very fast application process, and it's not difficult. It's just being honest and answering the questions. And we just want to make sure that whoever's applying is actually a notary signing agent and can be found online. If you can't be found online anywhere, then chances are you're not going to really get in, because we need to know who you are, how, if you're a notary signing agent, how you've been doing. If you have a website, great. If not, are you with other NSA directories? So we really vet our members, and I'm very, very protective of all of them. So
yeah, you really are. And what I like about your membership process is you require a lot of the personal branding and digital marketing presence that you're going to need to do the business anyway. You just require in order to be part of your group. I know we've got a couple of questions here. Joycelyn, would you like to unmute and ask your question of Carrie?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi, everybody. Actually, I don't have a question for Carrie. Well, maybe I will call you Carrie later. But I just wanted to give a shout out on something that happened. Samantha Singleton, one of our notaries here in Arizona. I just wanted to give a shout out to her because she found some of my documents that was left at FedEx, and she gave it to, she asked the FedEx people to hold it for me. Wow. That had information on there, and she messaged me because I didn't know who she was. She messaged me and told me that she found my documents there and she asked them to hold it. Then last week we met up in FedEx over here, and she goes, "What is your name?" And we started talking, and I said Joycelyn Wooten, and she said, she said, "Oh yeah, you're the one that I found your stuff," you know, and and I asked them to hold it. Yeah, so we met up in a FedEx, and she so I appreciate her doing that. Thank you guys for being awesome notaries and looking out for each other. So they held it at the front desk for me at FedEx. Luckily, it wasn't some stranger that found it. It was a fellow notary. So
No
thank you guys.
kidding. Joycelyn, you know what? This is weird magic happening because you and I are connected. I'm so excited for what you've got coming on down the road in March, but also Samantha Singleton is a personal friend of mine as well. So
Yes,
did she tell you?
Yeah, she told me. She told me.
Yeah.
I said, I said, "Are you a thriver?" She said, she said, "Yeah, Bill and I are good friends for years." So I said, "Oh, awesome. This is great." So I said, I have to give her a shout out. Okay.
Crazy.
And
Thank you
also,
so much for doing that.
yeah, and real quick, so Bill was talking, we were talking about my grand opening that we're having on, I posted it on the Facebook for the Thrivers, but if you're in Arizona, please do stop by because we have some great gifts from Bill, Carol, and a couple other, you know, if you're in notary gifts, that's going to benefit you. If you are in the Chandler, East Valley, Arizona area on March the 12th, stop by at our event. Check out our Facebook page for the information and everything, because I want you guys to win the gifts. I don't want to give it to outside people that are not notaries.
I love
okay,
it.
so if you're able to stop by, please do so. Grand opening, Two Doves Notary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joycelyn.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Okay, guys, I think we had a couple new hands that went up, so I'm going to assume these are for Carrie. This time is going to be reserved for Carrie. We're past the time. You got questions about notary reviews. You got questions about the fee, the structure, how it gets in, the requirements, all that good stuff. Let's hear from you. Rosemary, I think your hand went up for Carrie. Is that true?
That is correct.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
No worries. Thank you. So, Miss Carrie, I just actually, as you're talking, I just signed up. So just to let you know, also interested in knowing what other type of services do you offer, especially for the Spanish speaking notaries. I know you have to notarize stuff in English, but as we all know, when you deal things with second language, it's sometimes easier to offer services in terms of training or other informations you may have for Spanish speaking notaries. I'm asking for because I know some notaries that are very good at what they do, but they just feel comfortable in learning any new skill sets or whatever in their own language.
Well, that's a good question. I don't teach any classes, but I can refer you actually back to Carol Ray, who has her whole entire program done in Spanish. So the person you really want to talk to on referring like those notaries who want to get training in Spanish in their own idioma, in their own language, then I would refer them to Carol for that specific training because she's done all the work. But what my site offers, what we offer is just a vast knowledge. You know, you can go on there and ask any questions. It's a private forum, just like our Facebook group. You can't get in unless you're a member. It's very private. And that's to protect the notaries. So, and I totally skipped out for a minute, but on your other question.
That's okay, I do the same thing.
Okay, but for, you know, I'm Latina, I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban.
I couldn't tell by the name of Rivera.
Yeah, no, a lot of people ask me if, you know, my husband taught me how to speak Spanish, which was really weird. One time I was at a closing and that happened. And yeah, so I'm all for the Latin community, and I will not say Latinx. Oh, don't get me started on that.
Oh, you and me be on the same page. I like you already.
Let's not go there yet.
Yeah. So I also have on the website a calendar where you can click on there and you can schedule time to speak with me one-on-one for 30 minutes. We can do Zoom or however you'd like to meet up for a private session as well, because I know we're running a little bit long here, but again, I think it's a very good investment for those, even for the veterans, if you just wanna, you're curious as to see how many title companies are in your area, you can search by state, city, zip code. We've got them listed 5 stars to 0 stars, and you would be surprised to see how many people, how many good companies are now kind of falling behind, like banks are, for example, just with payments. I'm really kind of shocked with that one. But it's
Well, that
news
was
that
hard
you
to
can
get in
use.
anyway. I've been trying with them and I have years of experience and I
Yeah,
can't get in. So I was like, whatever, it is what it is at this point.
yeah.
Yeah, great question, Rosemary. I'm
All right,
gonna,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Jennifer Neitzel, great to see you on here. How's it going?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey,
I
Jen.
finally got to come to a TNT call. I'm so excited. I do not have a question for you, Carrie. I just wanted to let everybody know on the call. I've been a member of your notary review site for over 2 years. One of the, I mean, not first couple of members, but when you first started it, immediately hopped on. And if you're gonna invest any kind of money in anything right now for these signing services and the honest reviews you get, and they actually, like Carrie just said, change as new information comes in. And again, the information is all us. It's all loan signing agents providing this information. You guys cannot go wrong with this membership. It is worth its weight in gold, as someone said in the chat section earlier. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for that, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Carrie, thank you so much for taking some more time out with us. We love seeing you on here
Oh,
for
no, thank
TNT.
you.
Absolutely my pleasure. And I back exactly what Jennifer said. This will be, I think I'm looking at your plans here. We're talking about $125 a year for the top premium plan. That is the best investment you can make on your business right now, having access to contact information as well as who to avoid, because as Carrie said, some of the great companies, and this is one of the points I always make, I always still recommend sign up for 100 companies, not because you want to work with 100 companies, but because you want to find 3 or 4 or 5 that you love working with. And here's the trick. It's not always the 5-star rated companies.
Nope.
Sometimes they're the ones you don't like working with. They micromanage you. They require scambacks, whatever it is. So you got to find the right ones. And Carrie's list is going to help you get there. Thanks again, Carrie. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for
Thanks,
staying.
everyone. Yep. Thank you so much for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. We'll see you next week.
Thank
Adios,
you.
guys.
Bye.